The good news for you as reporters is that that this is an issue that not only has a lot of interesting stories, but there's some major differences of opinion. And so you get a chance here in the first two people to hear some differences of opinion. I think that we at NumbersUSA actually focus on many of the same issues that you do. And this is one of the things that's very interesting about covering public policy issues, is that you take the same problem and you come up with different solutions. And I think this is, I did prepare my comments based on the blurb for this panel, which is focused on congregations. And I think congregations will typically deal with the individual case study that's right in front of them. It's more unusual for a congregation to really get involved with the systemic issues, and that's what the national religious leaders and organizations such as those represented up here do. And I think that's when you get to the systemic issues, that's where the real differences come. And I would say to you, as you're covering, if you do cover immigration stories from a faith standpoint or from a value standpoint, and I hope you'll also keep us in mind, we're not a religious organization. We're a public policy organization. Our membership, I don't know when that bio came to you, but we actually are up over 750,000 online activist members now. We do quite a survey of our members. Our members represent across the spectrum, all parties, political ideologies, and also I think every denomination and faith background. Several of our members, including myself, are people of faith. We consider ourselves like I think every policy advocacy organization in Washington, we consider that we are doing morally the right thing. We were founded, I founded NumbersUSA in 1997 to carry out the recommendations of the two commissions. One of them was the Bipartisan Commission on Immigration Reform, appointed by Congress. President Clinton appointed Barbara Jordan to be the chairwoman, and that commission primarily focused on economic justice issues. They concluded that high immigration levels, current high immigration levels, are a tool of economic injustice, and recommended deep numerical cuts in immigration in order to help the most vulnerable members of our society. The second commission was not bipartisan. It was President Clinton's Council on Sustainable Development. And their conclusion was that we could not have an environmentally sustainable society exercising our stewardship over the resources into the future unless we move toward a stabilized population in this country. Cannot move toward a stabilized population in this country, they said, unless we have deep cuts in immigration. So we had the two, one in 1995, one in 1996. The Congress did not respond to those commission's recommendations, basically punted. In 97, I started NumbersUSA to continue the work of those two commissions and carrying those out. I'm just taking the blurb for this panel. I would say that we agree with the idea, I suppose we all agree up here, that everybody who happens to show up at a church are precious in the eyes of God. And that if somebody happens to be worshiping and they've broken immigration laws, they're treated as a child of God. In fact, that's McCain's, that's his mantra, is that illegal aliens are children of God, and that affects the way he approaches the issue. The thing is that once you've said that, where do you go from it? Because the fact is that embezzlers and burglars and shoplifters are children of God as well. And I think my question would be of those involved in the sanctuary movement is there a difference in the way you treat people in your congregation who are, say, chronic shoplifters or embezzlers than the way you treat people who are chronic violators of immigration laws, whether they're business people or they're the foreign workers themselves? And I think the difference of answer on that is the big difference in the way that churches may come down on this. Our own position is that it's the same. And I've often looked to see what crime seems to me to be the most synonymous or analogous with breaking immigration laws. I used to say burglary but some people convinced me that that's maybe just a little too strong. And I think I've come upon, I really think it's chronic shoplifting is the one that's the most common. And you know, when you think about it, the shoplifters are not, I mean, they're not violent people. They are, and they're not, I mean, generally you're not talking about high-level organized crime. What you're talking about is taking things to improve your consumption, often because you feel like your family is really in bad straits, and you certainly feel like you've got a lot less than other people do. And after all, you're taking it from a big, rich corporation, and one-on-one, who's really going to be hurt? And basically that's true. I mean, most shoplifting, if you're just that one shoplifter, there's just not that much of a bad effect of it. But as we know, and as anybody who's owned a business knows, shoplifting really adds up to a lot. And what it means is that everybody else, not the big rich corporations, but all the consumers end up paying the cost of the shoplifting. And the poor are affected the most by the higher prices. I think that's very much the situation here.